Welcome to Riverbend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
And by Mr. Matt Van Voorst of Macias Insurance. And Alex Honky's brought to you by Michael Kreider from Farmers.
There you go. Our engineer has his own sponsor.
Yeah.
Pretty fancy for an engineer.
Yeah, considering all he does is sit back there and laugh at us.
I know. I'm looking through the window and I'm pointing and laughing right now. Okay, maybe not. But he's in there. So it's another Thursday night here in the Riverbend area, which means we're going to tell you where all the bands are playing all weekend, starting with tonight. But we also, like always, have a guest. And tonight our guest is 33 on the needle, or at least the co-founders, maybe I'll say, of 33 on the needle.
whatever one half of 33 is. You know.
Whatever one, yeah. We've got about 15 and a quarter, no, 15 1 and a quarter. Here we
16 and 3/4.
There we go. So we got Todd Keith and Matt Costello. What is happening, gentlemen?
How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having us.
Doing fine. Happy to see things are starting to open back up. Bands are starting to play. Maybe some venues will survive.
Yes.
And the first thing we usually do here is tell everybody what's going on Thursday nights, because some of it's already happening right now.
Yeah.
Yep. Like
This is my favorite part of your guys' show, because it's just like, it's and that's a nice shirt you got there.
Well, thank you.
I still got to get you a V-neck. I know.
Yeah.
You just reminded me.
For the radio listeners, I have my 33 on the needle
just
shirt
reminded
on.
me. Somebody, one of the bands did come through.
I'm going to.
The other day. So I need
You're
to
getting one.
display it.
Yep, flatliner.
There
you go. I like
Yeah, they were on a year ago, and I told them I didn't want to take one of their shirts because I don't wear them unless it's a V-neck. And this year they said, we got you a V-neck.
We could always just cut it.
Yeah, every time I do, I end up looking like Flashdance, and I cut it way too low, and
it would be a pretty good idea to get a V-neck shirts, right?
I mean, I've got he has the chest for it. I've got those 1970 gigolo
scraggly
chest
hairs.
hairs.
Yeah,
With
me
my
too.
gold chain and stuff. Yeah, it's just not pretty.
Waka waka ding ding.
You have like the
Who ordered the
Tom
pepperoni
Jones
pizza?
chest or
Burt
something.
Reynolds.
Smokey and the Bandit, baby. I'll never forget my first Playgirl had him in it. I don't know.
Whatever you're into.
They just got weird.
It was the mustache, wasn't it?
It was the
If it
mustache.
goes, if it goes, it goes, right?
I don't know what he's doing with Sally Fields. I don't. All right. So anyway, I'm sorry. We're off track here.
That's how it happens
back
every
to
time.
back to the Monday night action, which you said is your favorite part for some odd reason when we talk about.
Because it always falls apart, whenever you guys try to do your calendar and we're here and oh look, a squirrel. It's
something shiny.
Yeah, exactly.
So happening right now, just over the hill from us, Morrison's Irish Pub has their sea shanty sing-along going on every Thursday night. People get drunk on, I don't know.
They might be in a boat.
Well, it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. They're probably all hungover already. I don't know. But I do know what happens at an Irish sea shanty sing-along is everybody gets drunk and the whole crowd sings. So, and you don't need to know the words. I think they're so repetitive you figure them out on the fly. So if you want to get drunk and sing, I'd head down to Morrison's and maybe take some boots.
Right?
Maybe. I don't know. I haven't
Or
been
a
down.
raft.
Or a raft.
Galoshes.
There you go.
Yep.
What else we got going on Thursday?
Cross the line, 7 o'clock at Fast Eddie's. Karaoke at Hiram's Bar in Alton. Open mic hosted by Everheart and Light from 6 to 10 at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
Robbie Miles, 7 to 10 at Georgia's local brew in Jerseyville. The Grand Band at Big Daddy's in Edwardsville until 9. And Mo Pleasure, 6 to 9 at Patrick's in Granite City. Harvest Drive, 6 o'clock at Prairie Inn and Dorsey. And a note for people looking for a show, Reese's Brewery in Edwardsville is booking live acts, and there's a contact. B. Shoemaker at ymail.com. I looked that up. I thought it was Gmail, but there is a Ymail. So I didn't know that.
Yahoo strikes again.
Yeah.
The great
Gee,
comeback
Ymail.
of Yahoo.
So there you go.
Excellent, man. So yeah, if you're looking for a gig, contact Brandy
Yeah.
at B. Schumacher at Ymail. Yeah, crazy. Everything's going to go to Y mail now. That'd be awesome. Y2K mail. Remember
Right.
that? No.
The link's at
KYG
cottonmouth.org.
That's my favorite. It's slick.
Just go to, for all these links, cottonmouth.org, and that's where I'd go because there's no way you're going to remember B. Shoemaker and how to spell it and all that.
So there you go. But you can remember cottonmouth.org. Go there, look at, and there's a link to that. So
And you'll be like me. Was that Y-mail or Gmail or Go Mail? I don't know. DuckDuckGo Mail.
It's goose mail. I don't really know what's going on in the world. So, but I think that looks like a Y, not a G. That much I'm going to say.
Well, I know that's a Y because I typed it. But I looked at their flyer, and it was like a fancy-looking Y, and I'm like, Y-mail? I thought it's Gmail all the time. Everybody uses Gmail because of YouTube.
Costello's smooth over there, doing
Try
his
not
best
to
to
make too
not.
much noise.
So I had to research it just to make sure that was legit. And I guess it's legit. I didn't send her. I should have sent her a thing.
And said, "Why are you using Y mail?" No, I'm happy. Somebody's fighting Google because I get all my info from them, unfortunately. So let's talk about 33 on the needle, not our internet habits, because it's going to slip into porn real quick here. So
It's not already?
in my mind, it had not. So there you go. Scrub your browsers, people. We got Todd Keith and Matt Costello, 33 on the needle. We've had you guys on many times in the past, and 33 on the needle. You guys been around quite a while now.
Yes.
I think you just said we were old.
Yeah, we are.
No. I would bring up Autumn Clock if I was going to talk about it.
That's old.
Yeah, that's ancient history. But yeah, we've been around for a while.
Yeah, I think it's what,
13 years. 13 years.
13 years.
Lucky 13. This is probably the last year.
33 and
Yeah, I'm
13.
done.
We're getting some magic numbers.
We're close to
going
being done, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, judging
Maybe
by
not.
some of the attendance at some of the shows, we probably never even got started. Actually, we've had pretty good luck recently.
Yeah,
We've had
recently.
some pretty good shows.
Recently, when we say recently, we mean before COVID. Right? So we haven't had any. Well, actually, Matt and I did play one show during the COVID.
We did. We
time
played
frame.
down at Jacoby with the Hideous Gentlemen, and it was a socially distanced show, and it was nice.
It was nice.
The Hideous ones, they managed to draw.
And now, was that the only show you've done since last March?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until the conservatory coming up in
Yep.
April,
Yeah.
April 10th.
And my cousin who was in the band asked us to play, and we were like, yes, because of all this COVID stuff.
I'm literally going crazy.
Not being able to play out. So Matt and I decided that sure, let's go play this show, just so we can have to be able to go enjoy playing music in front of people, which is something that we enjoy doing. So
And I think people in general are just ready to get out.
Yeah.
I mean, I've kind of been socially distanced for a year, basically.
Now the band we've still been practicing most of the time, depending on the band's schedule. We try to do it weekly because we're preparing to record another album here in April. So
which we're doing. I mean, we're playing the show on the 10th, and then that following Friday we're going right in the studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
From one straight to another there.
sure, that's the rock and roll lifestyle. You know.
Yep.
Limo outside brought me here.
So we utilized a lot of the time playing music and writing. Well, we've had a lot of things go on, let's just say, during the crisis, not just from the crisis, but personally. So we wrote a lot of songs.
Do we need an airing of the grievances?
No, not at all. But we just wrote a lot of songs during that time
Inspiration
frame.
comes from some
comes from
places,
things, and so we wrote a lot of music, and so we decided, well, we better record some of it. So we're going to start at least some 4 songs, and then kind of work through the whole
and
thing.
Just as I was a fan of Autumn Clock and whatnot back in the day, and that's kind of how I met these guys and like Scott and Todd, and then Eric, obviously, Hensley. But I would have to say that this is probably the most prepared, most complete stuff that Todd's written, and it's good. I'm not just saying that because I get to fake my way through bass parts on it. I'm saying it's good. It's good stuff. It's really good.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of what you said. Life brings inspiration, and when life has you on a high, a low, or a roller coaster between the two, there's a lot to be. When you've got something to say,
Yes, yeah.
it's a lot different than when you're just like, I want to write a song, but
Yep.
there's nothing in my mind except, boy, I feel like getting high.
Yeah. No, this go round, when you talk about songwriting, I used to have ideas. We'd work together, and we still do. We form the music as a band, but I actually, for the first time in my life, I wrote every lyric out, and I actually had more lyrics than I had music. I just kept writing lyrics, so I got like a book of lyrics right now. Just came out and it was like a 3-week period of just like boom, 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 boom. That I don't know.
We had to actually say stop.
Yeah, they stop me because I don't know what. I've never had that. Usually, even in Autumn Clock, I would I'd fudge the lyrics until right before the recording,
and even then,
the lyrics were a little sketchy. Maybe I'm writing them that day, kind of thing. And then this band the same way. Even on that last recording, a lot of the lyrics I had, I kind of formed them the week before we record them. So
and so this time they had to tell you to stop. See, nobody ever told Bob Dylan to stop.
No,
that's why.
You know what? I had heard something recently. He did an interview where it's like, what's on the horizon? Bobby's like, nothing. It was like, nothing.
But
new.
also,
like, I'm done. I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah. Also, when you write lyrics like that, when I said just keep writing, there's a lot of bad stuff in there too, probably.
And then that's what when he brings something to us, it's be it complete. In as far as he had written it in the garage or whatever and sat down, then when he comes, then maybe something that's gone on with Scott or whatever, he's ready to get out and play. So his drum part might be a little more up tempo, or a bass part that's going to just be dark and droning. And Billy always brings something just like completely off the wall. That's so it's so cool. It's like. How did
so the song morphs?
So then it does it changes and
so it morphs into the band, right? Because before that it may just be me on an acoustic guitar, but then it changes when the band because we all work collaboratively on this music. I just so happen to have a bunch of ideas that were pretty complete.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think that he should be proud of what he brought, and I think that overall, when we get done with it, we hopefully.
We hope the people like it as much, but I have a feeling that it's going to be much better than this last recording. So, and even that, I'm not saying that it was a bad recording, but I think
no, and we're going to go revisit studios we've been in before. The first time around, we're going to go back to Bird Cloud. Ryan Wasoba had in. Edwardsville above Mojo's music. It was great. It was a great, probably the most comfortable I've ever seen Todd in that setting. Ryan just did an amazing job making him comfortable, and it shows in the recording. Because I'm really proud of that recording because it's like 4 different ones and 4 different times over this span of almost 4 years or better. But Ryan was just like, it was amazing how he was. If he's at ease, then it goes easy because, it's not fun to sing. It's not even fun to necessarily be on the radio.
He sings now too.
But
so
that took medication and years of.
I have to disagree. I love to sing.
I do.
I don't think I'm good at it.
I am terrible at it.
I never thought, I'm great at this, but man, is it fun.
It is.
It just feels good to me.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's a good way to build things out, and I love it. Now I used to be scared of it, but it is still frightening though to get because you want to do it right. And
I wish I was better.
Yeah,
I mean, I always.
That's why I don't sing. I just scream something.
Yeah, because you are, and then as your own, you're always your own worst critic, right? So, and then so you got to listen to yourself sing, and that's kind of scary.
So and then Ryan made me comfortable, but I still had these bozos, looking through the glass, laughing like, "Oh God, what was that?" I'm like, "That's what it is."
Could you write Kanye West a letter and tell him you're supposed to be your worst critic? Because I don't think he knows that.
Yeah,
he's got a little self-confidence. That's
self-confidence. Yeah.
So you know what? I'm happy to hear all of this from you guys because at the very beginning of the pandemic thing back in March, one of the things we were saying last March is the good thing about this. It's a bummer that bands aren't playing out, but the good thing is people are going to write music.
Yeah.
People who are sometimes too busy going out and playing on the weekends are now going to sit down and write music, and it sounds like you've made good use of your pandemic time.
Sure. And then with Ryan, he moved the studio, so now he's got a new place. He bought a church in Collinsville and converted it into a studio. So I'm excited and anxious to go there. And then our plan then is to hook up with an old friend of mine, Don Bailey, the Bob Band. He's the lead singer, guitar, owns Evangeline's, former owner of 313 in Belleville. Don's just an absolute great guy and a legend, and he is building what could only be an engineer or band guy's dream studio in Belleville.
Oh, wow.
And there's not a lot of people that know this, and I'm going to rat him out here amongst the millions that are listening. Don has a Grammy that is his that he earned on doing some recordings for a country artist in Nashville that is absolutely huge, commercial country artist. He was part of the team that put that record together and won a Grammy for it. So
Nice.
he's amazing. He is absolutely amazing, great guy, and he's building an incredible studio. And we're going to go and hang out with Don for a weekend probably and do that because he's also going to be printing vinyl.
That's right. He has a machine where he actually prints vinyl. So
And we're
33 on the Needle that talks is named after vinyl will finally, hopefully, have a vinyl record, which is something that I have not myself ever had the opportunity to have. So I thought we'll spend the money and get that done too.
We'll spend Todd's money.
Yeah.
Who's the country artist?
Chris Stapleton,
Okay.
who I have no clue who that is.
That's
I have
good
no-
that you
no
said
idea.
it, though, because I'm sure there's people out there going, oh, yeah, I know Chris
I
Stapleton.
think he's huge, apparently. And I guess they were, he was part of the team. If you get on Don's Facebook, you'll see him. He's all over the country. And I think what he does is he'll go, be at a record label or a management company, be like, hey, can you come, help out on this record? Just lend an ear, whatever. And so then when Don wants to go play in Nashville as a outlaw country rock, performer himself, when he wants to go play in Nashville, he's just got to pick up the phone and say, yeah, you remember that time? And so, which is great for him because he does, he is set
Did
a
I
mob
mention
band.
I have a Grammy?
Yeah. And he will probably call me and say, why are you even talking? Because he's very humble. He's a very humble. But, it's, I guess they were in the studio and they had come to a point on one of the songs and they were like, we just don't know what to do with it. And Don's like, I think it should sound like the old country and western AM kind of feel. And everybody looked and moved out of the way, and he jumped up on the board and did some Willy Wonka stuff, and all of a sudden, everybody in the room said, "That's it." And I think that's what was to put it over the top. I don't know. It's stuff like that happens. You get some hash or whatever, and the next thing you know, it's like, let's do this, man, and you got a Grammy.
So basically, we're excited to be able to record with you.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're gonna split it up, and then they don't know. Then we thought we'd maybe do the guys locally here too for a couple
Lighthouse.
songs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they do some great work there too.
As
so.
we're going to do this, we're going to bring this full circle. They also are very active in the conservatory, which is where our show will be on April 10th.
That's
Yeah.
part of the same crew.
So we led it around. We brought it right there.
So the plan is for the new album to do part of it at Bird Cloud, part of it Lighthouse, and then part of it with your
Lonnie's
buddy.
Farm is what the
Lonnie's
studio is
Farm.
going to be called.
Lonnie's
in Belleville.
Farm.
Yep.
Okay, there
It's
you
somewhere
go.
in the 900-ish block.
And
of,
it's his own personal playhouse. Huh?
it is, and the pictures. It's
That's-
like this is like I don't
Yeah, if you go out to his website, he has a site on Facebook. You can see he's already collecting a bunch of cool boards and stuff.
I went to this studio that he had set up in a duplex that he owns, and I'm thinking, this is a studio. It's like people live next door. He goes, oh yeah, they're cool with it, and it's literally a duplex, and the one half of it, you go into one of the bedrooms, and there is a monstrous board, and there's all this outboard gear that's just pumping heat out of it because it's a lot of analog stuff. It's old school. Wow. I mean, we're not talking Pro Tools. We're going to make this plug-in. This is real deal stuff. Well, he has a board that he has there, and the elbow and wrist rest there at the bottom of the mixing board. It's padded and whatnot, and he tells me where the board came from. So immediately, I rub my face on it. And he's like, what are you doing? I said, given where this came from, Dolly Parton studio, Dolly's been touching that. So, by proxy,
I have touched her.
So, yeah. And
She used to rest him right on his
he's got an Echo. He acquired an Echo
funny.
plate that is like the size of this window for
Nice.
And it was used in the Thriller album, Michael Jackson's Thriller album.
So did you rub your face on that?
did
Thinking
not.
the same
I
thing?
did not.
Michael Jackson touched
No,
it. By proxy, I touched
But we
him.
just seen him buy I saw him on this page. He's buying all kinds of cool analog
like just
stuff,
the-
which is also exciting too because I would love to record analog again.
I think it jumped off the wall and rubbed itself on Matt.
It's
How that went.
I think he rubbed against something that was there from the Grateful Dead. The way he said it.
Bend over and spread your butt cheeks. Show me your butthole.
I assume that. So I saw Dollywood was for sale a few years ago, and I thought to myself, I think Dollywood is probably like Dolly Parton. It looks great from a distance, but when you get up close, I bet it ain't that
I
pretty.
don't care. I can close my eyes and just think back to when I was a kid, and I was like, oh,
It's just
Dolly
imagination.
Parton.
9 to 5.
Yeah, she, you know.
Have you guys
She's
seen-
about as plastic as it counts.
Have you guys seen her documentary? It's really, actually, it's really good.
She's quite the character. I
She
mean,
is
she's
a
a good
character.
person.
She is.
Yeah, she's a real good person. I'm just mocking her because
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't,
yeah, yeah.
because I don't have all the stuff she has. I don't know.
But I mean, I just thought that documentary was really cool.
Well, yeah, if you do check out any of the stuff that Don's doing, it's amazing. Like burlap inside the walls and wood
Nice.
diffusion, you know, at different elevations on the walls. It is. It's literally his dream setup, and I think he was planning on being up and running like last October, but as everything goes, especially with this pandemic stuff, lumber. You know, the price shot up and stuff got hard to get, and he had to special order a bunch of these different woods that had to come in. So I think that put him behind. Plus, the man runs a restaurant in the Central West End as well, and then goes out of town and records bands. So he's got a couple things going.
Yeah, he's
so.
a few irons in the fire,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah.
Man, but it sounds like you guys are going to have a good time putting this record together.
I hope so.
Yeah. I think you know, if we can remember all the songs and get them down,
And if we can
It
afford to
sa-
pay for it.
yeah,
It sounds like you need to end at the what was it, Lionel Farms?
Lonnie's Farms.
Lonnie's Farms. It sounds like you need to end there because then you could have all your other stuff recorded for him to press on that vinyl.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know? So
Yeah.
you do your Birdhouse, Bird Cloud, and Lighthouse
Yeah.
first. Then when you get there, you'll be like, hey, man, in addition to what you recorded, make an album. out of all that.
He knows. I text
We've
him
already
quite
talked to him about
regularly,
it. And the way and then our plan on when it comes to releasing this material is we're just after every recording session we'll just go ahead and release it and then put it all
Yeah,
together
we'll
on the
upload it,
vinyl at the end.
You know, all the regulars iTunes.
I'm thinking picture disc.
It'd be cool, or like
With Dolly Parton's mid segment.
yes, that board with you rubbing your face on it would be good. Huh?
That'd be a great, like at least on the album somewhere.
Oh gosh.
Maybe we just call the album Dolly.
Yeah, that's it. Dolly Parton's boobs.
So at Bird Cloud, can you record analog at Bird Cloud?
I don't believe. I think he's pretty much. It's all digital.
So it's going to be a mix, and
Sure.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think
Lighthouse, I
our
believe he
last
has
record was
both.
kind of sort of that, but it was all digital.
Yeah.
And we did that in multiple different places. Like the first EP, if you will, was done in our practice space. The second EP was done in a house in Edwardsville, and then a house in Festus.
Yeah.
Festus, huh?
Oh, it was in Festus. Yeah.
Really? Who you remember who it was in Festus?
Yeah.
It's Bart Darnell.
Bart Darnell.
He's like a sound man. He runs sound
He's
and
Bart man. Yeah. Him and Jeff Fields had done it, started the process together, and then we ended up doing some of that even in our practice space.
I can plug them. They on Friday nights at the off Broadway. Yeah, off Broadway. They do record spins.
Yeah, they spin some.
They spin records.
And they do a lot of indie stuff. And some 90s stuff.
I haven't got a chance to be over there yet, but I'd like to go on one of their nights. But every Friday night they do that over there at that bar.
And we may hit Bart up again, although we owe him probably thousands of dollars for what he's done for us, you know. And but we did all that, and then we finished up, and Ryan had mixed and mastered pretty much everything at Bird Cloud, and we were able to put it all on the record. So there's some continuity with it as far as levels go and EQing.
He doesn't know the shit either. So me and Scott may hire him to remix Autumn Clock material. So when I moved from my farm just recently, I found some ADATs of some of the Autumn Clock's last recording in the early '90s, and I sent it off to Tom Kudris, who lives out in New York.
Yeah, I know Tom.
And he
works at Dolby.
Yeah, he did a few mixes of some of the old songs,
Actually,
which were kind of cool for me, to listen to. And then, but he sent me all the tracks, and those were analog. So it was funny when you listen to those tracks, you can really tell the analog because it has like this high hiss almost the whole time you listen to. He gave me a copy of a few of the songs, and I was at an appropriate now volume, because back in the 90s, it's just like you hear a lot of albums where they mix them now and they do remasters on them to make them a lot better sounding. He did that for these couple songs of that old recording, but you could in there you can hear that hiss the whole
Tom
time. You can
also
hear the tape
mixed
running.
our self-titled EP.
Yeah.
So our self-titled EP was mixed by
Tom
Tom,
as well,
and I think we might have slid a song from James Nichols on there.
Yeah.
Who was a, not that we're name dropping or anything, but he's also a legendary engineer and performer, Grammy Award winner. He did the Clash at Sandinista record. He won. He won a Grammy, I believe, for Wynton Marsalis's record, and
yeah,
was
he
nominated
works with
for the Malcolm
yeah.
X soundtrack. And he's just
Now, Sandinista was never, like production-wise, I never thought of that as one of the Clash's greatly produced albums. But man,
I don't think he won a Grammy for, but he produced it. He
I was gonna say,
engineered
it was a great
he performed
album.
on it.
He
as well.
played on it.
on it
Oh,
as well.
nice,
So,
nice.
And we had kicked around the idea of going out and recording with James at Electric Ladyland, and then we got the rate on it, and it's like,
Yeah, we couldn't
we
exactly
would love
afford
to.
it.
So I mean,
Couldn't
if you
afford
want to
to.
send us money, you can do that. We can set up. I'll give you my PayPal right now.
Another disadvantage of the pandemic is that, like this recording, we're going to have to reach in our own pockets because we used to pay with
Which I
show
have
money,
nothing.
and there's been no shows, so we have no
Right.
money.
I have no. It's
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, yeah, Todd, you can float me this. You remember all those shows that you never had to cash and I bought drinks. You got my cup. You got my Porsche.
Yes.
The recording. So
It'd be interesting to see on the vinyl, the digital side and the analog side,
Yeah,
how that comes
that
across
mixes
on
together.
vinyl. Yeah.
It would be interesting. I don't know. Yeah,
as long as you get some needle crack and pop and you're good with it. There's
it's
nothing
got-
like
it
putting those-
should be.
there's nothing like putting on
There
old
is a
school.
big difference. Of
Yeah.
how you do that. But even in the old days, we record analog to digital. But yeah, it was just the mastering part of it. But yeah, it is different.
Yeah. That'd
Like
be
I said,
cool.
that I noticed from that Autumn Clock recording. Now the tapes are really old too, but yeah, there was like this hiss that was like, "Whoa!" I didn't.
That's
even
not a
know.
hiss. That's this warm sound that the tape makes as it rides over the head.
You could hear the tape spinning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
when you put on those old school headphones, the big poofy, cushiony ones, and you drop that needle onto a record, you hear not only the sound of the needle all across the record, it has a scratchy hiss to it, but then the analog tape hiss going on. It's like, oh, this is. I mean, there's nothing like it.
Where were those Autumn Clock recorded at?
So that one was recorded at a studio on Locust in St. Louis.
Okay.
Premier Studios.
The Premier
wasn't it?
Studios, yeah. It was kind of an interesting place. So when we got
Kinda.
well, it was.
Kinda.
There's a lot of history of
Just downplaying
recording,
this.
and at least St. Louis guys. I know that Ernie Hayes, right, the
Okay, yeah.
Cardinals guy, he did some
Oh, yeah.
recordings in there.
Yeah.
And the studio had a really cool Hammond organ, and I know that we used it on the recording. So that was really neat because when we went in there, we were like, "Oh, Eric's like, oh, this is awesome. Can I
There were
play this
some-
thing on the recording?"
I
Yeah,
don't know,
so-
maybe some Disney productions that were worked on there.
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch made a bunch of audio
Yeah,
stuff
it-
there. Oh, and Ike and Tina Turner recorded lots of stuff there. I mean,
and there was a lot of amazing microphones in there.
Who's that?
Like
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
German, condenser mics. Well, not condenser mics. I guess whatever those mics are. The real fancy
some tube-driven stuff.
tube-driven stuff. Yeah.
What studio was that?
It was Premier Studios.
Premier,
over there.
right.
And
I
so,
thought you
like,
said that.
The live room, like we've got sound baffling on the walls in here.
What-
so the walls could be flat. And you walk over to them and you push on them, and they pivot around, and then they'd have.
It was very Abbey Road.
Yeah, it was.
It looked like right out of the '60s. I mean, it was pretty neat. They had a newer board in there, but a lot of cool old mics that were just laying around in that place from years that we got to use and sing in. Like these tube mics. They were, I don't know what they were, but they also had a lot of cool. They weren't using them. We didn't use them, but a lot of cool old 4-track reel-to-reels and things in there. It was a neat place.
In the basement, they had like a vault down there, which was you want to talk about smelling like mold and mildew, and it just had the big aluminum like tape cans that you store them in,
Yeah.
and tape's just decaying inside of them, and it's like Disney this or Anheuser-Busch that. It was
a lot
they
of
were-
commercial
a
stuff.
lot
I
of
think they did down there.
production that was done there.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it became. Something else, and it was a studio / practice space. And if you could reel off a bunch of names of studios from back in the day, and they changed it, so I think somebody's still using it as a facility. But it's just when they did that record, it was like wow. And the coolest
cool.
part about it is Tom had a board, I believe, at his house that he was working on for Frankie from. Frankie was he's Dr. Chevega's friend,
Frankie Mir,
and Frankie had bought a board and Tom was rewiring it for him, and I believe it came out of the Abbey Road Studios.
Yeah.
And Tom was rewiring this board for Frankie, and so there was a lot of his. He's just like, oh yeah, we were just at some studio, with some guy. So yeah, Tom is like a mastering engineer for Dolby. He does the remix and master voice. But that's over years you network with people and you meet people, and it's just like, to think about it, and not to name drop, but it's like I've been really lucky to meet a lot of really cool people, a lot of people that have done some amazing things. I mean,
we recorded the second half of that record in his house, his grandparents' house, so right up here by St. Anthony's.
And that was done on 2-inch tape, was it not?
Yeah,
Did he roll
on
that
2-inch tape,
Yeah.
and so half the album recorded just
still has that tape machine. He's been hauling around this.
You know where
thing.
St. Anthony's is there? It's like a parking lot now. They bulldozed the house, but there was a 2-story house there.
He's still got. I don't know if he's got it at his house or if he's got a Dolby somewhere, but he has that tape machine. It was a 24-track.
Yeah,
and with the VUs up top, all tracks running. Old school.
Yeah, it was old school
weighs,
stuff.
I wouldn't even.
It was a ton and a half, right?
Yeah, I miss those studio days like that. Just some of those places were kind of neat because the tape, the guys that could do the tape stuff,
right?
Do the good splicing.
We could do some tape work. I think.
I think so.
There's something really cool about the digital DIY. Everybody can afford to make a record now, where before most people couldn't afford to make a recording. Even if you were just a band, you just want to record a couple songs, you couldn't afford to do it.
Yep.
And I really love the fact that every band can now afford to make a recording. However, those old school studios with all the analog equipment and like what you were saying about the 3 studios you're going to. So you're going to Bird Cloud and they're all digital, and then you're going to Lonnie Farms and they're all analog, and then you're going to Lighthouse and they're bi.
Yeah,
they do both.
Well, I'm thinking like with Don, with Lonnie's, it's everything going pre-tape, if you will, is going to be analog stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it ends up going into a Pro Tools or something.
Well, in the end, almost everything has to now because your new distribution center requires it to be.
Well, it's just become so user friendly. Like we were talking about these recordings, like your phone. Some of this, I just like started the Music Memos app or whatever. It might even just been the regular video running. Put it up on the case behind us when we practiced one night and just recorded. And usually when you listen to it on the phone, it's like there's no bass to it, there's no low end to it, it's all tinny because it comes to those speakers and the little microphone. And for Apple to have like some of the worst video and worst audio for their phones, and to be fully immersed in media production is just really makes no sense to me. But I plugged it in and listened to it back in my car, and it was amazing sounding. Guys, we paid thousands of dollars back in the 90s to get recordings that weren't as good as just the phone recording, and I'm like,
this placed in the proper place.
It's crazy. It is.
But yeah, you were right about the money thing too, though, and I can tell you that at least for that old band, a lot of it was like friends that were engineers that would let us record there at night,
right?
To be able to do it there.
I remember, we like Fly Everywhere. We went to Champaign, and they had 2 rooms. They had the A room and the B room. The B room was a converted garage, like a detached garage that just was like a large, just general area for live room, and then a smaller than this studio where the board was, and that was $35 an hour. And that was back in the late 90s.
Yeah, and then you got to pay for the tape, too.
Right?
Yeah, but we were
right.
And they were ADATs.
That's right.
You got to pay for the all ADAT. And then they had the A room where
we got to pay by the foot for that.
Yeah,
the A room.
Or you get on the end of someone else's reel.
Right.
Which happens too.
We got time to do a 3-minute song.
I had managed, because of where I used to work back in the 90s, to come across some 2-inch tape. Mm-hmm. And it was probably $350 for a reel that was, I don't even remember how long they were.
Yeah.
I still have that thing, and some of them might have been baked in the oven, and that's a risk anytime. But we were going to record in the A room there at that was Private Studios in Champaign, and it was $75 an hour. I was like, oh my God, we can't afford that. Nowadays, $75 an hour would be really cheap.
Yeah.
So
Sounds
it's
easy.
all relative, and if you get a good engineer, it doesn't matter what you record to. If the performance is there, the engineer's good, the mics are good. It just doesn't matter.
But you can, like you said, you can record yourself now too. I'm not really. I have gear to do it and record my own self, but
isn't it more fun to just go to a studio?
Yeah,
here's one of the things about that. So I love the fact everybody can do it, because everybody can do it. It doesn't mean just because you don't have some money, you don't get to make a record.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do it yourself, you are the engineer, you are the producer. You aren't concentrating fully on
and your
playing.
performance suffers.
Your
It does
performance
every time.
suffers because you're thinking
Or the recording does. One of the
You're
two.
thinking about too many things. Where when you do walk into a studio and there's other guys doing the button pushing and running the chords, you get to just sit and play your song, and
right.
you know, there's something very freeing about that. Now it cost at least $75 an hour. I understand. Now that was back in the '90s, right?
And it helps to have a
Yeah, when it costs, though, you
it helps
want to
have
make sure
really
you're doing a good
engineer,
job.
Somebody who's efficient, and I think just out of sheer luck, we've had a case of running into some really efficient, really good, solid engineers. Like I went to Jared from Hideous Gentleman had asked me to go with them on like a soft opening type thing for Gaslight when they were doing some recordings over a weekend. He asked me to go in the studio with them and just lend an ear and whatever. And Zach Gibbons was the engineer that night, and Mark Cange also is an engineer. Zach was, you want to talk about efficient? This kid was fast. I mean, lightning. He was. If there was a screw up or something, they stopped, boom, he was ready to go. It's not like you're waiting to roll the tape back and find out where you want. He was just ready to go. Ryan is the same way. He was ready. Brendan Gambles, who we recorded Fly Everywhere with, he was running ADATs, and he was making notes as we were playing. If there was a flub somewhere, he knew exactly where we were going to punch it in at.
Yeah.
We were not. It cost us money because of us, not because we were waiting on an engineer. You know?
Right.
Yeah,
And,
I don't know about you guys, but we work better with someone that is quick, efficient, and can maybe guide us a little bit, right?
Yeah.
'Cause,
That's what a good producer does.
yeah, but I've worked with engineers who are like, okay, what are we doing now? Or it's like, it's not.
There's a great. I'd sent Todd a video. Like I'm a fan of the Earthquaker devices, pedals and stuff that they put. They've got some great gear, and there's a Steve Albini video, and I shared it on Facebook, and it was like, you have this impression of who Albini is because he's got some clout. I mean, the guy's got some stroke. He's been some places and done some things, and you always think that this guy's going to be really pretentious and have this air about him. But what a straightforward, down to earth, and accessible guy. You can get studio time with Albini as an engineer. You hire him to be a producer, he's going to cost tenfold what you pay him to be an engineer. He's not going to tell you what to do. His approach, and it's a great, if you can find it on YouTube, it's worth the 26 minutes or whatever the video is. It's amazing. He's built himself his dream studio, and it's worth watching even for just as a fan, as a musician, as you guys are, it's worth it. And how accessible that guy is. And he's a legend. I mean, he is definitely a legend, but he's like, my job is to make you sound like what you want to sound like.
Right.
Not to make it to what I want it to sound like, not to make it all pretty, not to what you want, how you are live is my job to capture it. And they've got drawers full of microphones and effects pedals, and you can use all this stuff, and you can record in this room or you can record in that room, and it's amazing. And I've been lucky to actually interview Butch Vig, who's also a legend, and he's also a way down to earth guy. So there's some engineers you come across and they're pretentious and they've got this air about them. That's fine and dandy when the record company's paying the bill. But I'm here, man. I mean, I'm.
See, we used to have our engineer for this show used to be so nice, used to be so laid back. Then he got a sponsor, and now
he's not nice.
Arrogant. No,
Who's that? It's Michael Kreider.
Michael
Point
Kreider is
you're up against it.
Yeah.
You gotta be watching your clock.
So are you guys going to record some to tape?
I guess.
It just depends.
knows better than I do.
If Don's got it,
I just knew we were going to
I
record
would.
the
the
guy.
logistics
That's why.
behind it,
Just for
'cause
fun.
I do have some. I think
would.
I have, like I said, I think
least
I still have a
one track.
2-inch tape reel, and I know I definitely have a 1/2-inch reel that's got some room on it because we did some Fly Everywhere stuff one weekend when we probably drank too much and smoked way too much, and it was like half of the tracks were on 1/2-inch 4-track reel, and the other half were trying to dump into Pro Tools in a radio station production room, and
Man, it's at least cool you have the reels.
when you're trying to record that stuff in a
All
studio
the
like
stuff that we
this
recorded
back
back then,
then,
I
you'd
don't-
crash the hard drive
that
real
stuff's
quick
long
because you
gone.
needed some
Probably
data.
recorded over, or destroyed, or I don't know, whatever.
Well, I
Whatever happens to
bought
him.
the tapes, so
Yeah.
I wanted my tapes
Yeah.
for what I paid for them.
Yeah, the little. So the tapes I gave to Tom were like those ADATs, They
VCR
look,
tapes,
They look
yeah.
like VCR tapes.
Yeah.
I've got
That's
a
all I
tote
had.
full of them.
And then the regular DAT tapes that they used to record on.
Yeah.
Right on.
They don't use those anymore.
I was gonna say you don't see a lot of DAT tapes going around anymore.
Like in the studio here, you don't see those tapes you guys used to put commercials.
The carts, yeah, the cart machine, yeah.
I still got my DAT player.
A cart machine was like an 8-track that was on a reel.
Yeah,
it
I've
was
got
on
a
a
DAT
loop
tape
with
of some Bishops.
Oh yeah,
songs that are on DAT. I've got a tote full of some really cool.
I sent a
stuff.
DAT over to the Point once.
Yeah,
I never got it back.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You were the DJ that played it.
Really?
Yeah.
DJ. I was a button pushing monkey. That's
Yeah. Well, you got my song on. That's all I care.
I mean, you're my guy. I mean, we got some history, pal.
Yeah, we do.
History there.
Thursday nights were
That's
a big
true.
night for
the Mosh.
But you guys worked at the Big Z, not the Big Z. This is
WLCA.
WLCA.
Yeah, WLCA.
And
absolutely.
did you work in the old building, the one that was like?
No.
Okay.
No.
I just remember when I was real young, we got interviewed for some local show, but it was in the building that was out by the
tower.
By the tower.
yeah.
I'd walk in
been
there
there.
now and I wouldn't have a freaking clue how to use any of the equipment. They have Mike Lemons has done a great job with that program there. He really has. It's
all automatic.
We were
right?
using like some very archaic stuff back then.
Oh,
Even
yeah.
for the early 90s, we were using some.
Well, even so when I finally went back and finished up in the late 90s, like when I started there was Mike Dreeth. Then in the middle, it was Kent Shuffle, and then at the end, it was Mike Lemons. It took me a minute to get through college, but it was.
Me too.
They had finally gone from reel to reel to digital, but it was just like the basic 4-track, nothing. It was very basic. But they are. I hear that they're all modernized.
It
now,
is.
so
It is. And
Congratulations.
like I said, Mike's done a great job with it. And he was. There was a little stutter between Mike taking over and. When I was leaving, there was a guy who was taking over, and I'm not going to say his name.
Mark Plunkett.
I was not going to say his name.
I will. He fired me.
And I don't know how long. You want to hear a funny story? I could tell.
I was on my way into the Mosh, and I got there, and they're like, "You can't do your show." I'm like, "What? Why didn't he call me? I wouldn't have called him."
I got kind of screwed over on my internship. I needed my internship, and I'll get you wherever you want to go. I know everybody everywhere, and I kept going. I'm like, I've only got days before I can drop and get my money back, and I was going to do it over the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, I got your audition tape out, your resumes everywhere, and I looked down on the floor next to his desk, and there's my envelope with my stuff in it. I'm like, you got those out, right? And I picked it up. I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Are you kidding me? And so I had to go out and get my own internship. And as we left that, I mean, I shouldn't say. The statute of limitations is probably up.
Yeah.
From 95. So the format was getting flipped from what we had built. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, Robert Fithen did an amazing job of building an identity within the
He took over
college
after me.
radio.
Yeah.
And you did a fine job for what you had available to you.
Yeah.
And the resources and the things you come up with when you're no budget.
All right.
So it was getting flipped to a country/classic rock format because it had to be the demographic of the student at Lewis and Clark.
Right.
So
They were pushing CMJ hard.
everything.
I had started kind of getting back into it, but they were like full blown.
So then, as because that was at the end of basically that was Kent Chef. He was, and so Plunkett was going to take over.
Right.
So as we vacated the building, we took a degauser to the cart. Running up and down there. So
We
the song would be
need
going
to get to
whoop,
these
whoop.
gigs. We're short on time.
And
tonight,
we got to
yeah.
get out a few minutes early because
Right.
of the big
So here's the
mayoral.
long and short. Years later, his resume came across my desk.
And
he was looking for a job.
And you got to fire.
And I called him
That's awesome.
to hire him as an intern. And
There you go.
he turned me down.
That's awesome.
Hey, let's hit that Friday, man.
All right. Well, this one's sold out, but Troy Taylor's doing these things with dinner and a little talk. And Friday night he's doing his first one. It's about the Limp family, and that's going to be at the Best Western Premiere, but sold out. So, and then open mic at Raging Cajun, possibly. They don't post anymore, but they were doing that for a long time on Friday night. Gen X at Fast Eddie's on Friday. Dustin Coleman out at Baker's and Hale at 7 o'clock. Money Shot up at the Rod and Gun Club in Brighton. Two-piece at George's Local Brew in Jerseyville on Friday. Worth the Fight down at Patrick's in Granite City. Rock Bottom at Doyce Village Inn in Pontoon Beach Friday and Saturday. Corey Sathoff, 7 to 10 at the Outlet at Edison's in Edwardsville. Grand Band, 6 o'clock at Big Daddy's. Sunshine Grooves, 7 at Moose Lodge in Edwardsville. Let's see, Dave Horton, 7 o'clock at Timeout Sports Bar in Troy, and Shotgun Creek, 7 o'clock at Washy's Saloon in Waterloo. They got a hold of me last week and said, hey, you didn't put our gigs on. I was like, I'm glad you're listening. But they were pretty far away. I was in a hurry.
They are going to be our guests in about 2 more weeks, I think. Next week we got John Johnson, the magician, and then Shotgun Creek will be our guest the week after that. So there you go.
Right. Then on Saturday, down at Jacoby, Performing Arts Grab Bag.
I'll be there. I'm performing in that.
All right.
Nice. There
Tell
we
us
go.
all about this. It's featuring musicians, spoken word, artists, actors, and dancers from 1 to 3. Something about a grab bag. You reach in and pull something out. And
He's a bag grabber from way back.
Yeah, I know. So I think what it's about is you put your name in the bowl or whatever, pull it out, and then all the different performers are going to perform together.
Yeah.
Kind of
Other than
like an
that,
old
that's
school
all I know
keyboarding.
is I'm supposed to bring my stuff with me and be there ready to go.
Sounds
at 1
ready to
o'clock.
grab some
Sounds like
bags.
you should come prepared.
Yeah. All right. What else? What else we got?
Saturday night, Jay Sabo and Greg Hayes with Magic by John Johnson during the set break. 7 o'clock at the Lodge at Lovejoy in Alton. Cross the Line 2 to 6 in Gen X, 7 to 11 at Fast Eddie's. On Saturday, Grand Band 7 o'clock at Baker's in Hale and Godfrey. Josh Aker Band 7 to 10 at George's Local Brew in Jerseyville. Noble at the American Legion in Kane. Terry Beck, 3 to 7 at Grafton Winery. Gary Burke, 6 o'clock at the Hog Pit in Grafton. Darian Rowe and Company, 7 o'clock at Locks Brick House in Bethalto on Saturday. Phase 2, 4:30 to 6:55. There's a strange time at Patrick's.
6:55. You're done.
Yeah.
Don't go to 7.
Did you say 4:32?
Yeah, 4:30 start
to
at
6:55.
Patrick's. Formerly Eddie's, right?
Formerly Eddie's.
All right.
Yeah.
Down in Granite. So that's kind of an oddball one.
That's a
Well,
weird
I mean, it's
time.
granted.
Rock Bottom, 7 o'clock at Deutsch Village Inn Saturday. Terrence Wafer and Curry Bass, or maybe it's Bass.
Yeah.
8 p.m. at the Cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carbon. Live music, 2 p.m. at Hoodats in Collinsville.
Love those guys.
Lanny and Julie, 2 o'clock at the Foundry in Edwardsville. Strangers, 6 to 9 at Big Daddy's on Saturday in Edwardsville. The Intrusion, 8 o'clock at Wigglers at Holiday Shores in Edwardsville. Worth the Fight, 9 o'clock at the Oasis in Carrollton. Another St. Patty's party up at Wild Pickens in Chesterfield with Borderline this weekend. So let's keep going. Saturday, Flip the Frog
So that
at
band's playing.
9 p.m. at Two Dogs and Rude House. Money Shot, 8 o'clock at Roosters in Staunton. Shotgun Creek, 9 o'clock at Silver Creek Saloon in Belleville. Check this one out. The Burning of the Socks 2021 is a tribute to warmer weather. At the band Foreplay, 6 to 10 at the Boathouse in St. Charles. That takes care of Saturday.
That is not going to smell good when they burn those socks. I'm just saying.
No.
We got a whole list for Sunday.
we got a few minutes because we got to get out of here early. So
Dude,
let's
this Sunday, I was just surprised there's a bar in Kane.
Yeah,
The
American Legion.
Legion in Kane.
They've been doing some stuff.
I've done
there.
a lot of gigs
Thank
in
you guys for
Kane.
having us. We appreciate it. We don't want to hold you guys up. And,
Oh no,
No,
not
it's
at all.
always a pleasure to come and hang out with you guys. So.
Roll down the Sundays.
okay,
Oh, you still
Anthony
have-
Nanny
did you
and
start this
Company.
at the beginning of the show, wasn't it?
Sunday, March 21st. Anthony Nanny and Company, 1 to 5. Borderline, 6 to 10 at Fast Eddie's. Money Shot, 2 o'clock at Roper's, Regal Beagle, and Godfrey. Strangers, 3 to 7 at Grafton Winery. Here's a big benefit at the Hog Pit. If you get a chance to get out Sunday, definitely stop in. A benefit for Sarah Davidson. It's a benefit for the Tatas, is what they're calling that. Outlaw Opry, Roaming Home, and The Intrusion, 11 a.m. at the Hog Pit in Grafton. Grand Band, 2 o'clock at Aries Winery in Grafton on Sunday. Brian Foggs, 2 o'clock at Wild Pickens Winery in Chesterfield. Dave Horton, 1 o'clock at Hoodats in Collinsville. Michael 20, 5 p.m. at Patrick's in Granite City. And Scott and Michelle, 2 o'clock at Deutsch Village Inn.
Man, we are firing things back up again. That is a lot of gigs. In a
We're not
weekend.
doing it. The
Well,
bands are doing it.
I'm
and
saying
the venues.
I'm just happy to see
So
it
that seems
happen.
like a lot of music.
I'm going to
for-
fire up this 33 on the Needle song, though.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a what song we gonna hear by them?
I don't know. We better get going soon because it's like a 5-minute song. So
Yes. you better-
What's the name of the song we're gonna
Oh,
hear?
we're going to do What song is it? What is it
I
called?
thought it was the Cleanse.
Reboot?
Rotovibe.
Oh,
Roto
Vibe.
Vibe.
That's
There
it.
you
Yes, that's what it's called.
So this, and what album is this off of?
It's off of.
Sounds Across the Midnight Sky.
Yeah, I forgot the name of it.
Available now, iTunes, Amazon, all your regular places. And April 10th at the Conservatory on
Yes.
Broadway, East Broadway, 554 East Broadway. It's a free show. 8 o'clock we start. First 45 minutes, me and Todd will be acoustic-ish. After that, we're going to turn it up, and Agents of the Free as well.
Right on.
So
Is there a third band on that?
No,
game?
just two.
Oh, I thought I was
Just
thinking
two.
there was.
So you're
I
gonna
thought
get,
Doug told me there was 3. So there you go.
All right.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
So,
and
yeah,
you've been
please come
listening.
to visit us.
Oh, yeah, come visit.
It's free.
And please visit the Conservatory. These people opened this
it's
venue
April.
right as they had to
Yeah.
shut it down.
Yeah.
April
So
10th.
It's a
Show
very
'em some
cool
love.
venue. Definitely come.
show them some love. There you go. Now let's hear some 33 on the Needle.
We will in just a second.
Oh,
As soon as we say
We are professionals here.
we got to pay the bills.
Right.
Thanks for tuning in to Riverbend Talent, brought to you by the Halpin Music Company and by Mr. Matt Van Boris of Macias Insurance. Get out and support local music and art, and check out 33 on the Needle right now.